If I'm lying, I'm dying. The Pro Flowers I talked about last week are still alive, and it's been like 3 weeks. I have no idea how they're still going. So why not show some love to our sponsor, Pro Flowers? Right now, Pro Flowers has a special offer just for you. Get $10 off your purchase of $29 or more to snag this deal. Just go to proflowers.com and enter the code Greggy at checkout. Are they beautiful? Yes. Do they smell great? Yes. Do they live forever? Apparently. Like 3 weeks. I'm not joking. Do yourself a favor and support our show by supporting Pro Flowers. There has to be a bee in your life that needs flowers, or a person. Get $10 off your purchase of $29 or more at Pro Flowers. Remember, because I had the whole bee joke last time. Last time around, I did the bee joke. I cut it out of all the other references except there. So just go to proflowers.com and enter the code Greggy at checkout to get this special deal. If the flowers never die and take over my house, know that I died doing what I love, getting asphyxiated by sentient flowers. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
2 Red Bulls in, maybe go for a third.
Now, talk to me about the Red Bulls. Again, you haven't drank Red Bulls in quite some time, and here you are.
No.
Why today? What happened? I've been gone for the afternoon.
We have a special guest.
Yeah.
Lorne Lanning's here.
Sure.
And every time he comes over, he's like, I'm like, would you like something to drink? We have only coffee, water, and maybe a soda. And he's like, how about sugar-free Red Bull? And I'm like, you, sir, I'm a champion.
So did you bring them, or did they just appear?
I requested them, and they magically
appear like that. I like this.
We got a whole ream of them in there
now that we got a whole bunch of people here working, they can send people out for anything we want.
It's really crazy.
You want a poodle? Andy Cortez will go get you a poodle.
You
got that poodle.
Yeah, exactly.
What's weird about that? We were commenting.
Don't
as
ever
we were all
fucking poke me again.
Oh my god. We were all sitting in the back room there now that we've moved back there. We're the old people.
Yeah.
And we heard them all talking, and I'm like, wow, they have a whole life of their own in there. It was like Andy and Joey and Kevin. They don't really need us anymore.
No.
So we have to destroy them. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking before they get too powerful, we have to destroy them.
No, it's awesome that they have their own life over there. Don't shake your head, Kevin. I can see
amazing.
you doing that. Don't be doing that. Whoa, getting blue over there. Of course, joining us as always, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
That's the most.
You're 1 day away from your first beard trim.
I'm excited about this. Professional. I'm going to, after Nick has recommended this 1,000 times maybe, for me to go to the People's Barber.
Yeah.
To one of them douchebag barber places.
Yeah, super hipster barber places.
I'm going on.
Now, I hope you got the... I don't know the person you're getting the cut from.
She has an amazing name. I don't remember what it was, but it was something like Destiny.
Well, hopefully she gives you the attention that you deserve, because the thing I love most about these, I don't know if you've ever been to a professional barber before, but they give you the hot towel with the menthol, they rub the face. It's very pampering but in like a manly way, so you don't feel emasculated by it. Same way
Portmandian.
Yeah, Portmandian. Yeah, exactly. And rounding out the foursome today, the legendary game developer, but more importantly, a man who 2 years ago was on this very show, Lorne Lanning.
Yes.
It's great to be here again. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you.
My condolences.
I can't. I can't believe it's been 2 years since you were on this show.
I know.
Because we are, of course, fast friends, you and I. In the whole group. You fit in with everybody. You and Nick were out there just yucking it up like you guys having a great time. But I think about when you were on the show and you did the Burning Man topic, and we were in the spare bedroom and we did all that stuff.
Life-changing.
But then you've been such a supporter of us. You show up and you do the E3 shows with us. You come by when we have parties. You hang out. You're a bro.
Well, thank you.
Want you to know that.
Oh, right on.
Like you a lot, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Good. Okay, good.
And you guys give us exposure, so I'll pimp myself everywhere.
All right, because you would make this game called Oddworld, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing that's happening. There's a new one coming up, right?
Whew, that's where my life has been. Yeah, you could tell last time I was on the show, I had hair your color.
Yeah.
You look like you've lost weight, by the way.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
You look good.
I had 20 pounds. Because the last time, to deliver the last game, I had to go live in England. Try staying thin in England.
No,
really? I've heard the opposite. I've always heard the food in England's bad.
Well, yeah, but then it's fish and chips.
Yeah,
would you like fish and chips for lunch or blood pie?
I'll take the fish and chips.
I'm down with the blood pie.
Or blood
sausage.
Blood sausage. And pork pie. Pork pie.
Is it like a pot pie? Is it like a thing?
With pork in it?
Yeah, that's
like a gel.
Oh,
like I don't know, calories by the million per spoonful or something. I watched the talk that I did at Gamescom or something back when I was at there. I was like, oh my god, it was huge.
Yeah,
not in the right way.
Kevin's yelling at you.
Literally,
I was huge. Not in the right way.
Crank up the microphone.
He could not get closer to the mic right now.
All right, I'm with you.
Kevin, we understand you're doing your job.
We're
not mad at you. We love you very much. All right, take a breath, Kevin.
Thank you for the correction, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Okay. Is my voice cubed now? Good. Yeah. Okay.
Nick, you're also wearing your Beat Cop shirt for the first time since the Beat Cop Let's Play.
I am. I just wanted to remind myself that we did that. That was probably that's either high or low art. I'm not sure which one is which.
It was high art.
Was it high art? Yeah, I had a great time doing that. I wore it today to pump myself up for the other Let's Play we did this morning.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, to get ready for that.
Okay.
Felt like it was a little low energy. Listened to some AC/DC on the way over.
Yeah.
I'm on my 3rd Red Bull now. Second Red Bull going on.
The problem is, I mean, what time? Lauren's been here like 45 minutes. How are you on your 3rd Red Bull?
This is my 2nd. I apologize. I'm gonna go for a 3rd though.
He's already vibrating so quickly.
Remember when we used to work at IGN? They used to sell. They had the Red Bull machine.
That was the problem. I haven't had a Red Bull since
remember
IGN.
that.
Oh man, and I used to go around when I really needed one. This is back when I used to smoke, and there's nothing better than a diet sugar-free Red Bull and a cigarette that go all together. But
It was $1.
I would go and I'd be like, I don't have a fucking dollar because who carries cash anymore? So I would have to beg people in the office for like quarters to make the dollar. And then I would realize I don't have any cigarettes left. So I have to go bum cigarettes. Basically, I was a big bum is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're in the right town.
Pretty much, right? They take care of you here. Give you cell phones.
Greg had a little thing of quarters.
I did have a thing of quarters.
On your desk.
All my change I just shoved.
There was a
in
whole
the
bunch of times I'd call you and be like, "Hey, can I take one of your quarters?"
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Yeah, sure." I
Yeah, just
guess.
do it. I hate change.
I had
hate
to,
paper money. I hate change.
Can you believe that some of these, parking meters are still change based?
It's ridiculous.
No one will give you
I just won't
change in
park there.
stores.
Fuck that.
Right?
Yeah.
You got,
No, they want that at
I
all.
don't trust you.
My wife has cash every once in a while, and I'm like, I don't. It's like it's befuddling to me. I'm like, how do you have like 320s? I don't understand how that works. Like she'll open up the wallet. You know, that she has the beautiful like wallet that she has, and like she'll open it up.
You
and
know.
like,
You know what we're talking
well, I mean,
about.
like
here.
I don't even have a wallet, right? I don't carry cash on me. I just carry like 4 cards with me in my pocket, loose. It's weird. It weirds everyone out.
Just in case the power goes out.
Well, I just don't need like I don't like people have these big chunky wallets, and I'm like, I don't carry cash, so I don't need any space for it, right? And then I also don't need to carry 50 cards with me. I just have like my license, 2 credit cards, and like an insurance card.
It just seems so
That's
easy to
pretty much it.
lose them. They're
You
just
would think
loose
so,
in
but
your
isn't
pocket.
it- I mean, yeah, I guess, but then the other alternative to that is you're not sitting on a giant hunk that's like throwing your back out every time you sit anywhere. Get him your wallet right now.
Nick.
It's on my desk.
Let me see your wallet. You get your wallet with you?
Yeah. It's not big at all.
That's not
that's not bad. That's not
That's
bad.
easy. That's bad.
Faraday.
Oh, you got a metal case.
Oh, so yeah.
So because now
Oh,
they have
so they can't steal from you.
can't
So they
steal.
can't get
They
that.
can't
That's
swipe
so
it.
you're smart.
Now they're lifting. Now they put the security chip in so you can be hacked a lot easier from
Yeah.
someone else's mobile phone.
These sons of bitches.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com where you...
.com.
Well, you got to .com/kindafunny.
.com.
Just go to
So that's kind of funny.
I missed that. I wish more people still did that.
You and I do it all the time. You and I are the kings of bringing back stupid shit that everyone wants to forget. One of these days we'll sing the Cars Kids for Kids commercial too. And
That wasn't. That was not.
They redid it.
That
though,
wasn't a
because
Chicago
everyone-
thing when I was listening to the radio. Instead, Kids Line was. Remember Kids Line?
No.
Call Kids Line any time of the day. 1 quarter is what you pay. And here's where it gets really bad. Need help and nobody's home? Call Kids Line on your someone's breaking into your house? Call Kids Line and pay a quarter.
Wow.
No, call 911. Why would you say this Kids Line?
That's pretty terrible.
Suburbs of Chicago know what's up. You can go there. He tosses a buck. You get the bonus episodes. Then you can get each and every episode early for a few more bucks. But if you have no bucks to toss, no big deal. Go to youtube.com/kindafunny where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big MP3 in video for your listening pleasure. Lorne Lanning,
Wow.
what's your topic?
Well, you guys we were talking about Switch earlier.
Oh yeah.
We're big Switch
that
fans
there
here.
Nintendo Switch.
So
She just
what
got
other
done watching
topics do we
Direct.
have?
What? No, you make games. You don't like the Switch?
I don't have faith.
Okay.
I have no faith.
Now
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
telling me
Yeah.
that you don't have faith in Nintendo to come through with the games that you believe that they can to work out something with some third party. You're telling me that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
but
wait.
it's due to experience. So no, here's my forecast, and I know this is gonna be
paint the pictures for us.
crucified, but I see a similar level of success that they had previous generations.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
what previous generation are you talking here?
Yeah, Wii U, Wii.
So the
they'll
are different.
outperform Wii
Those
U.
are different.
No,
Because the Wii U
they're
failure,
Two different. Well,
Wii
yeah,
success.
Yeah. That's a manner of speaking. How successful was it for third parties?
Okay, but
Don't act like you just dropped a truth bomb on us.
No, really. Who really, by the end of the life of the Wii, who else was making money on the Wii aside from Nintendo? How many titles sold for the Wii that weren't Nintendo first party?
Sure.
Okay. So what happened? So they started basically evaporating third-party support, right? Then we get to Wii U. What happened? Same.
No third parties, yeah.
Third party. So you would have thought. Let's just take a case in point.
It's only a matter of time before Kevin yells at me. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Sorry.
You look at his eyes; they're
So you would have thought. You would have thought that maybe if there's no games for sale on a network, if people have a hardware device, maybe they'd like to know that a game has become available.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that, you know, in a silly me.
Yeah.
I was thinking that in our last game, New and Tasty, we brought it to Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as indie developers, so we're not even third party, right? We're like on the bus that showed up with all the tires are mismatched.
Yeah.
You know, like
we're just happy to be here. We made it.
Retreaded in Mexico before they brought it back over. And so we're on that bus because we're indie developers, right?
Yeah.
Which means you don't stand a chance in hell unless you have store support. Now, what that means is same as with everyone else. Google Store, Android Store, PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, Steam, right?
Yeah.
If you've got something really good for that hardware platform, they'll promote it. Not Nintendo. Unless you were day and date. So even though they don't have a title to release to their audience, even though you might spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring a title, they're not going to tweet that. When they have nothing to tweet. I mean nothing. When they were tweeting absolute absurdity. Because they had nothing to talk about because another first-party Nintendo title is probably not coming in the generation of hardware, whatever. I mean, based on what I saw at E3, right?
Sure.
I think there was 5 titles on the floor, yeah. So out of that, you would think that maybe just letting your audience know, because they get 30% of everything sold, right? Congratulations, you're allowing self-publishing. But the policy is, unless you release day and date with other SKUs, they will not give you any promotion. Now, how many megabytes of RAM? How many gigabytes of RAM are in the new device?
RAM or storage?
RAM.
I don't know. That's some techie bullshit. I don't care.
Yeah. And storage?
Yeah.
How much?
What is it?
32.
32.
Yeah. And RAM, I think, is 2, right?
Okay.
Yeah. How's the competitors?
A lot more.
Yeah. So what does that mean for conversion?
They're not portable.
That means irrelevant. So that means it's irrelevant on for this reason. For this reason, because what it means is you're not going to ship titles day and date. First of all, you're not going to make that underpowered of a title for the other systems anyway, because you'll probably get slaughtered.
Sure.
Right. And then if you do, now you're going to have to spend a lot more time, energy, and money squeezing it in to the limited amount of RAM that they decided to have in their cartridge. Now, why are they doing cartridge? Why are they doing cartridge?
Save on load times and
No, it's control manufacturing. Right. That's it. Control manufacturing. You don't have to worry about piracy and stuff like that. It's a different degree. So a premium on manufacturing costs. It's all about Nintendo first.
Sure, of course.
The other companies are winning. Like similarly, I have to say, I think Microsoft had a bit of this problem before Charla and before Phil
Spencer
took over, right? And then their policies changed, right? But they were so tight and Microsoft centric that they were losing the audience. Well, that's what's going on now, continually. So you would think, okay, the Switch, you're looking at specs, it's mobile, this is interesting. How well are other developers, first party, third party, indie, how well are they going to bring titles over? Not very well, because they're going to have to spend more time, energy, and effort to get it onto that console for an underpowered console that's going to have fewer units in the marketplace.
Do you think it speaks to it, though? Because this is you have an axe to grind. You got a vendetta pretty clearly.
Well,
there.
you know, look, it's not like we lost money, but we didn't. But had it been
you could have done way better,
we
right?
Done way better.
If they would have just
and
said,
you look
hey.
at it forward and you go, what's the point? Because we're not going to be day and date because they built another wonky ass system.
Here's what I agree that, don't get me wrong, the Switch is a wonky ass system. I agree, but I think what excites me about the Switch and why I love the Switch is the portable aspect, is being able to play. But it's also this: is the fact that since it's underpowered, since it's this, is it easier for indie developers who are making things like Shovel Knight, like Graceful Explosion Machine, like these games that are smaller, is it easy for them to then get their stuff over there and get them on this unit and have them exist where, because like for me, I loved the Vita. Loved the Vita, as you know.
Yeah.
And so when the Vita just got fucked over and Sony's like, we're not doing this anymore.
And you can't even tell, have they given it up yet or haven't they?
Oh,
it's still
they gave it up.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like it's a little bit
sure, but I'm saying there's no more AAA games coming from PlayStation.
Right.
They're not committed to it, right? And it was like, we got all these indies, that's good enough for me. I feel like the Switch is the same story, except that Nintendo can't back off of it. Nintendo can't say no more AAA games for Switch until they're ready to launch the next thing.
And what's the OS?
For the Nintendo thing?
Yeah.
Crap. It's crap is what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So why is it going to do stellar?
I don't think it's going to do stellar.
Right.
I think
So
it's going
how
to do
well
better
is it
than
gonna do-
I think it's going to do better than Wii U.
Yeah.
I think it's going to do.
I mean, are we talking just sales numbers? Like, what is the
Yeah.
metric of success here?
Yeah, well, it's
sales
just
numbers.
install base.
I think
Install
it's gonna,
base. Because
it's gonna
that's-
end up
that's-
doing way better than the Wii U at 13 million. We're gonna destroy that. It's not gonna hit the crazy numbers that the Wii did,
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely gonna eventually outpace the 3DS.
What about GameCube?
Yeah,
I think it's
it
going to be GameCube too.
I think it's positioned better to take more install base than each of the ventures you just mentioned, but the thinking has to change. So the biggest problem I see at Nintendo is the thinking. I mean, personally, I think he killed Iwata.
Really?
That he couldn't move the organization into a really successful arena, right? And what just happened with Mario on mobile? Not what they thought.
Yeah.
Right. So what's really going on? Where are they really
For the
steering
audience,
ship
for the non-gaming audience, what did happen on with Mario Mobile?
It didn't sell as well as they
didn't
thought.
It came out. It did really well, but it didn't like set the world on fire.
So
It didn't
part of it was
Pokemon. It didn't Pokemon Go.
for the non-game cast audience.
So Pokemon Go, you already had a property that was like enormously infectious at a card-based level, right?
Yeah.
So people are used to like gathering, sharing, trading, stuff like that. That's not Mario's history. Right, so Mario's more a console experience, right? So the first time Mario basically goes to a non-Nintendo centric piece of hardware, what happens? Doesn't meet expectations, right? This is like the wake up call to the new landscape, because I think they're testing. I don't know this for sure, but this is my guess. They're testing the waters on mobile because maybe they become a mobile-only company eventually, right? Which is kind of what the Switch is indicating, and then they're building off of an Android-ish type of environment, which is not the strongest for gaming.
Sure.
Right.
Well, I mean,
all the mobile.
It's back
developers
to
will
the
tell you that.
wonky stuff in the OS and stuff. The fact that there isn't an online eShop isn't up and running in the way it should be with Virtual Console. There isn't an online infrastructure yet. It's going to be there. Mario Kart.
Shit fucking crashes every 3 days.
Right.
So
yeah,
what you
there's
got
this app
to
and
do,
stuff.
like one of the things that helped Sony just blow past everyone else in the beginning of this console generation was how they just opened the kimono fully for indies to self-publish. Really set that trend outside of Steam, and then B, they gave you a platform to bring awareness about the title that you can't afford any advertising on. And when you're our scale, and in the indie scene, we're certainly not the biggest, but we're certainly not the smallest, right? And so, but basically, we're still in that space where we can't afford to do, first week advertising. We buy the store $250,000. We've preloaded that a year ahead of time, like the big publishers do on all the stores now, right? So you have to rely on quality will rise your product to the top. But if you have an organization that's so embedded in this antiquated thinking of the 20th century, we will control the hardware, we will control the cartridge manufacturing. If you don't release on our subpar hardware day and date with your other games that on your other platforms, that you're going to have to squeeze down to like a third of the capacity in running in memory and all, and that means rendering. I mean, it has a lot of implications, right?
Yeah, Nintendo first.
So unless you do all that, even if we have a total drought in the store and no products are available for our audience, we really don't give a shit about them because we're not seeing what we want as a policy, and so therefore we're just not going to really talk about you.
And this is the same. You're talking about what you ran into on Wii U.
Yeah, but
are you seeing the same thing?
It's not like we saw any
revolutionary
revolutionary change in management. It's not like we saw any. What we see is, to me, it's a tragedy because Nintendo brought this business back, right? Anyone who remembers what happened with Atari, the book Game Over was a great book on the history of the game business. Nintendo brought the business back, right? We're all playing today because Nintendo's
they didn't give up,
valuing
right?
this,
The entertainment system.
and then they
rather than video game
controlled
machine.
quality. Like they had certain controls that were really part of its longevity to stay in business and make the game business a valid space again, right? And now those controls, they really need to get 21st century about it, and they're not. They're still thinking in this antiquated way. And so what I see is the motivation, as long as these policies don't change to be really 21st century policies or Web 3.0 policies, where you're looking at other companies to build businesses on the back of your business. That's the key, right? eBay figured it out pretty easily. Amazon figured it out. You can go have stores there. You can do this. The rest of the networks figured it out. And you can manage and you can get to know your customer better and you can use their platform as a business builder. but you have to have some leniencies to understand who your partners are, because then you're really like a partner. Like we're a nothing partner to Steam, but we're still a partner, right?
Sure.
Same with Sony. Like we don't show up on their sales enough to really make a difference. But you got to change that thinking if you're going to get support. So now you go, okay, can I make day and date? Am I going to delay the other titles on the other SKUs so I can squeeze in the Wii U that'll have the smallest install base out of the other 3 competitors, right? And now we got Scorpio. It's a pretty raging piece of hardware.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So can I accurately predict that we're either going to delay the release of the other platforms, which is, everyone's usually hungry for money. Like you got to get money back in the coffer, right? Or, are we going to just deliver late, or do we think we can deliver on time with the other SKUs? Well, anyone who's done lots of conversion on big data stuff, you're trying to do AAA type quality, you're not going to hit that. So you just go, you know what? It's not a viable SKU. But so you're writing it off before you even had a chance to really test the market.
But do you think that, like, you in particular, with what you guys are doing with Oddworld,
yeah,
I feel like that's a game that isn't necessarily a Switch game, if that makes sense. I feel like when I'm thinking of my Switch games, and granted, this is because what they've showed me so far, or what I've played so far. Yeah, I'm thinking AAA Nintendo games, Zelda, Mario Kart, whatever, and then I'm thinking Mr. Shifty, and I'm thinking Snake Pass, and I'm thinking about games that are smaller, simpler. I'm not thinking that there's a third party. I'm not Insomniac is I don't think ever going to put out a Switch game unless they made a team that was like, let's make a very small game, like let's do what we did with Song of the Deep. Let's make something even simpler and smaller.
So then. It's possible, right? And so now if you're doing that platform exclusively, but why would you write away the others?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. But but I mean, that's the thing with what's happening with the Nindies, right? Is like Puyo Puyo Tetris is already out on PS4 or coming out on PS4?
Yeah, but they're usually on different SKUs like this, and that's a good example, right? I don't know the inside story on any of these things
I'm
talking about, right? So,
those of you listening, he just winked at Tim.
Thank you, Nick.
There you go.
But I don't know nothing. But you just touch on a really accurate point. So for us, let's just take our last title, which is, I assume that developers in a similar situation. We had to wrap up one, right? We have limited resources. We're self-funded. We're struggling already, really. I mean, that's just game development, right? Sure. No one wants to buy the thing they bought yesterday, so it's got to be new and different and pretty good, which means you can't accurately predict exactly how long it's going to take you.
Yeah.
And so you get a SKU out, and then you got to start generating some money. Now, if you're, I mean, I bump into the indie guys all the time. They're like, well, what should I do here? I'm like, you have to get on these other SKUs. You have to. You're just leaving money sitting on a table.
You got to get your game to
and that
people,
money
right?
might be that division next year that you're not laying off because you got over to Xbox and first you were only on PS4, right? It's money. So I think if you were Switch only, right? So now you don't have the day and date promotional problem with a really strong game. You might do fine. You might do better than you were on the others because you won't get as eclipsed by the big AAAs and stuff like that. So there could be some advantages for some people, but overall it's going to add up to the same thing. Smaller portfolio on the library, period. At the end of the day, the catalog is going to be this when it could have been this.
I agree with you. I don't think you're wrong. And that's the thing is like I always go back to Drinkbox. They made Severed, they made Guacamelee. They kept supporting the Vita. And they did a GDC speech basically where they were like, I know people ask us all the time, why are you making games for Vita? And the reason being is that there is an audience here. They buy games. There is an attach rate that's going. And I feel like right now in the early days of Switch, that's what you're seeing is that there's people who have the Switch and are hungry for games to play.
How big is it?
How big is
the audience?
Exactly.
What is it? 2 million units?
2 million.
Yeah, right. That's what they wanted to hit by.
So let's take 2 million units, right? Now, do you ever sell in 10% of the install base?
Supposedly, Switch has a crazy attach rate with the
that's because there's so few available. One of the highest IPs of all time, right? Nintendo first party. Well, Nintendo is it first party? It's basically first, but in-house will deliver IPs that the Nintendo audience is just frothing for, right? So they'll have the highest attach rate of any new console with their own specific IPs, Zelda and Mario. Right?
Sure.
Maybe Kong. And Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
so they'll have an unusually high attach rate.
Right.
But what's the chance of anyone else after the initial launch, right? Because the first
now
thing,
is the store fills up.
If there's only 3 titles available,
yeah,
you're probably going to sell super high attachment rate, right? But as soon as 10 are available, how are you going to do?
Yeah.
As soon as 20 are available, how are you going to do? Which is really the metric, right? If you didn't make it day one, you're in the higher numbers of competitive stuff. And so
here's my argument.
Yeah.
Here's my counter argument. What I think is interesting, if I'm a small developer and I'm making Snake Pass, which they just did, right? But let's say I'm making Snake Pass months from now when there's more games out there, right? Snake Pass hasn't existed. If I go with Nintendo and I do the whole, all right, cool, day and date, whatever. What Snake Pass, Snake Pass published on everything, but I publish on Nintendo and I publish on PC. Those are the two platforms I'm able to put out at day and date. All right, cool.
Right.
I feel like it's a similar story where that can drum up in the Nintendo Switch audience, drum up support so that in 3 months or whenever the window's up, I can put it out on PlayStation 4 where there is this giant install base, Xbox One, bigger install base, and get them to go get it in the same way like Limbo did. Where Limbo, hey, I'm only on Xbox, this is great. And by the time I got to PlayStation 4, everybody snapped it up.
And I think it's a great comparison, and it's true. And how many cases will that happen for? So when you look at a platform, right, it's like, okay, so those laser discs will sell some more. But how many other people's titles? Right?
Yeah.
Right? You're still in that, like, it's going to be a smaller portfolio because some people, like, if we were in, like, just getting started, I might target Switch first. Because there's less, I'll say what you said in a different way, right? There's less competition, so I'll have more visibility as long as my game is good, right? If the game's not good, I'm going to just destroy the IP because I'll get higher visibility and it wasn't
that
there.
game sucks.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We've seen that happen, right? On the PlayStation initial launch, we saw some games just tank really fast because they got awareness. So you could, if you look at it as an individual company, small company in particular, seeking strategy in a way to get more visibility on your brand, well, everyone's going to be reporting on Switch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're going to have to show some games. What's the likelihood that you can get some of that screen time? Which is exactly how I would be thinking about it. And to your point, I think that's a smart move for some people. But where is that going to leave, for some groups, but where is that going to leave in 5 years from now? How much of a viable platform is it? Where is Nintendo that was really, the emperor of the industry? It wasn't many years ago, was in the marketplace. Nintendo, Hollywood Reporter was writing the most successful entertainment company at all time, right? Of all time. I mean, the comprehension of that was unbelievable. So you go Paramount, Universal, Warner, get out of the way. Disney, get out of the way.
Here.
Nintendo. You're like, what? How is that possible? And in this short amount of time.
How quickly it all changes.
Yeah, so they have the cash to fix it. Yeah. They have to have the will. So I think, there's opportunities because of, cases. Press is going to cover it. If you get there early, you might get coverage you never might have got on the PlayStation 4 or the Pro or the Scorpio.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is just the fact of, like, where you're going to be in 5 years. It's the same. Now you look at PlayStation 4, and it's the same way, right? Of, like, we made fun of it all the time on PS I Love You. The 30 games that came to PSN this week. You know what I mean? It's like, well, how the fuck are you going to find the great games in there when there are so many garbagey games in there? There's this weird.
It's tricky, and
you
that's where
you can be too small like Nintendo or too large like Steam, where it's even worse.
Yeah, but Steam will still, if you have a great game, Steam will help you shape how to promote it. I don't know about get to the top, but they'll at least give you advice.
Sure.
They'll tell you windows you should avoid. They'll help work with you. I'm not saying Nintendo won't.
Sure.
But they will do that because and then if it's making waves and it really shines, they'll give you exposure. And it won't be like, well, you released on PlayStation first, so we're not going to promote. And Apple's not going to do this. If it makes the iPhone look good, they'll give you some coverage. That's their model. Gotcha. Not like, here's all our rules, so we win first. And if you don't abide by them perfectly, good luck with exposure.
But don't you feel like this console generation is more closely mirroring like the at least the cachet of the Wii than the Wii U? Because I feel like from an outsider's perspective, there wasn't a lot of excitement around the Wii U, but there seems to be a lot of excitement as far as just the consumer is concerned around the Switch. And doesn't that count for something? Like, in other words, how much of this matters to Nintendo as far as like, is this a strategy they have to shift, or are they happy with this as their level of success that they want?
How can it be, right? They're a public company, right? Right? Yeah. What do public companies need? Growth. That's it. Growth, right? So, as I heard one person within Nintendo say, complaining about the internal policies, they said,
Mario?
"We're not." Yes, Mario. He was smoking the crack pipe, man. He was saying all kinds of things. Should have been at that party, man. Yeah. No, but
can you turn on the fan?
But
sorry, I threw you off.
Yeah,
public company.
You're talking Nintendo.
So they're a public company, so they have to have growth,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
They have to have growth. They have to have profit. Everyone's watching them this way. They need to pull it off. Are they going to really pull it off at that next level, or are they settling? And you can't really settle in this business because someone's going to eat your lunch, right? Microsoft's a public company. Sony's a public company. They're all focusing on how to eat more of the other guy's lunch, right? You come in with an underpowered piece of hardware, doing it on a cartridge, having different promotional rules and constraints that are policies. None of those things are adding up to faster growth.
Sure. Yeah, I don't. For me, the whole thing is I'm fascinated to know behind closed doors what their expectations are for it.
Yeah,
because I do think that they have I love my Switch, right?
Yeah,
but I love it knowing its limitations. At no point, I made the joke all the time, like if Mass Effect would have come to Switch as well day and date, I would have bought it on Switch. But I know that I don't own my Switch saying, man, I can't wait to play the next Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft's not going to give them anything you need like that. Maybe we get a Ubi Arts game similar to like Valiant Hearts or something.
And even if we got the Assassin's Creed, you don't want that. Like anybody that thinks they want that, like I'm sorry, you're wrong. Like why would you want to play the dumbed down version when there is more powerful things out there? It's like if you have the Switch, you need to know what you're going to get from that. And that is indie games, that is first party games. And now that eventually the 3DS will get phased out, that means you're also getting all of the smaller AAA Nintendo games that used to be the Fire Emblems and the top-down Zeldas, the 2D Marios. Like you're still going to get those.
So what I think is Nintendo is going to sell its first 3 to 4 million units fast no matter what.
Okay.
Because as a game brand, my guess is Nintendo has more tattoos on skin than any other game brand as a console, right? I see more N's tattooed on ankles, and you've seen it, right?
Forces.
And I don't see as many PlayStations and Xbox logos. I see brands of games.
See, let's get a Smash Bros.
But the Nintendo fans are Nintendo logos, right? Like they're hardcore, they're diehard, and they're gonna sell this 3/4 million units. But 6 million units, how long is that going to take after that initial audience?
Just need a Mario Kart bundle. You need a Smash bundle. You just need to start bundling. All of a sudden, these people, they're going to buy it.
What's interesting about it is, again, I think you're right. And what Colin's point always was, right, is that Nintendo can't sell a Nintendo console on Nintendo alone. Look at the Wii U. That's what they did there, and it just didn't work out.
Right. That argument doesn't hold up because the Wii U didn't deliver the 3D Mario.
The Marios you wanted, the games you wanted.
It didn't give us the Metroid. Okay. So it's like,
but stick with me.
And you feel like the Zelda did, right?
The Zelda?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think there's a trend that could start where if Mario Odyssey comes out at the end of this year, and it is that 3D Mario that people want.
So that's kind of how I think about it. It's like, I remember I bought the Sega Saturn.
I'm sorry.
Because I thought, you know what? For the price of Virtua Racing, just think of it like a coin-op stand-up, 3D good racing game. It was worth it. Yeah. The Saturn, I just thought of it like I'm buying an arcade machine for virtual racing,
right?
And it's worth it, right? But I didn't really buy it for any other games, just that game,
right?
And I thought of it like a coin-op purchase of a real hardware machine,
Yeah.
And I think for Zelda games and stuff like that, it's kind of like that. The Wii U was kind of like that. The Wii is kind of like that. The games that are great first party, boom. People, how many times did they play bowling? How many times did they play tennis? They're like over and over, but they were never motivated to buy another title.
And see, my thing about it is I think this is them turning a corner on that respect.
Well, I hope you're right.
Because I do think GameCube, I'm thinking GamePad, Wii U, like it was that thing where I think I was raised Sega. I was a Sega kid, so I don't have that nostalgia for Nintendo. And so when I looked at the Wii U, I was like, that thing is garbage. And I play games, I'm like, these are great, but I'm not gonna go out and buy one of these things. I'm not that motivated for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like there were a lot of people like me, and then there were the Nintendo people who peeled off and were just like, this isn't great. And then there were the people who were Nintendo and bought it and loved the system, were fine with it. But I feel like Switch has brought all the Nintendo people back. But then me, I'm having such a great time being like, man, this is the first Nintendo console since N64 that I feel like a connection to, where I'm like, this is great. And yeah, when you put Mario 3 on it and Super Mario World, I'm going to buy all those things again. And I'm excited to play Mario Kart on April 28th because that is the game I love, Kart. And I hated the Wii. I hated everything about the Wii U, so I didn't even play Kart on it that much. Yeah. And so like, I'm stoked to have that, but I bought in and got it with the expectation that I'm buying this and I'm going to play Zelda and then Kart and then Mario. And then I didn't even think there'd be the Nindies like there's been, where it's like, oh, Snake Pass. Oh, shit, Graceful Explosion Machine. Oh, shit, Mr. Shifty. Like, I'm playing things on it that I'm super stoked about that I can't only get there for right now.
And they're promoting those games really well. So it's like, they must be going through all the bullshit and doing all that stuff. But
as your early release title, they have different motivations, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's going to work for some.
Yeah.
Right?
But my other thing is that I never think it's going to surpass PlayStation 4. It's never going to be that kind of machine for me.
Think back to SNES, right? When you were on SNES, you would have said GoldenEye. You would have said other titles.
Oh, N64?
Sorry.
I just don't want the comments to eat you
Yeah,
off.
that was N64, right? Yeah. So N64, I was going back to Donkey Kong Country, sorry, or Firefox with the chip in there. Sky Fox,
Star Fox.
Star Fox.
It's the Red Bull. I'm telling you, sneak it up on you.
I'm telling you, man.
You need another one.
Yeah, let's load it up. See what happens. Yeah.
Then we'll get the truth, the real stuff that's happening.
So it'll have its core fans. It'll have its core playability with key titles.
Sure.
But let's go back to that. N64 was like you thought of many titles that you'll go back and you have great memories for you, and SNES as well.
Yeah.
That weren't first-party Nintendo titles.
Yeah, but that's not true. Like even with the N64, they didn't have the third-party support. Like, I feel like that was the first generation that it was like you can't only have this system. You needed to have at least two. And I think it was a kind of that was a kind of true thing then. But then by the time you hit the Wii, it was a definite like the Wii 60 was the joke. It's like you got to have the Wii and the 360.
Yeah.
Eventually PS3 came through, but this year or this generation now it is PS4 Switch. Like you cannot expect to get the AAA third-party games on this thing because that's not what it is capable
And
of.
this strikes a chord with me in the same way PlayStation VR does. In the way we've talked about PlayStation VR for a long time, and I think on our E3 show for year one of Kind of Funny, you were like, you thought that PSVR had the best chance of succeeding out of all of them because of the install base.
Yeah.
When we
And
were
the store.
Yeah, and when we were leading up to PlayStation VR, kept driving home on all the podcasts the message of like, you need to understand you are buying genuine hardware and you're not going to get a AAA game every week and da-da-da-da-da. And people bought it, and then I waited for like the knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, this sucks, I wasted my money, blah, blah, blah. And it never came. And it had to, and I didn't hear anything. So I had to start asking our listeners like, what do you think? And they'd write in like, oh no, it's great, I love it, I just don't play it all that often, it's over there. And I feel like Switch is a similar thing where I think people bought it and they were like, all right, it's my Zelda machine, and as a joking fashion, but then we're also like, it's my Zelda machine. Maybe it's my Mr. Shifty machine. Maybe I'll just wait till Odyssey. They bought in knowing what they're buying into. And this is what goes back to the real question I have is, what did Nintendo think? Did Nintendo know what this was, especially at launch, or did they think it was going to be slam dunk, runaway success?
I totally think that their goal is to outpace their handhelds and to try to get back to the DS numbers, which are crazy.
They're crazy.
And I don't think that they'll ever hit DS numbers, but I do think they can surpass 3DS numbers. And when the price of the machine is higher than the 3DS, that means more. You know, when you start selling way more games and there is only one system, the attach rate is going to be higher.
So my question for you, and this is a definite like outsider's question, then. So is the idea that they're going to just do away with any other handholds and this is going to be the one Nintendo unit? I think that is the goal of success. But
and like, if they get to that point, then this will be a successful system.
Interesting. But then what happens to
Now
the
you're in-
other market? You just
it doesn't
limited
fit my
an entire
pocket.
market, right?
But that is I
got a big pocket.
You're not eliminating it. You're just, this is what that market is.
Interesting.
Right? Like I think the fact that they have announced in the Direct today that they're selling the dock, even though it's already been available on the back end of the store, like they are gearing this as a thing where it's like, yeah, you can have it in multiple rooms of your house, but also take it with you. And I think that the more that they double down on that, they need to keep supporting the 3DS right now because of the install base and because there's money to be made. So
They're also going to need to come out with a really, really good battery pack for that thing.
And they announced battery pack today.
The other thing that
Is that what happened?
as well is like
fuck you.
That was an hour ago.
You
literally.
you build a title, right? Just think of the developer community, right?
Yeah.
So you build a title. What's your chance of sales? Like maybe you get in early and maybe you ride some of that exposure, right? And we're all about, we got legacy on trying to do that.
Yeah.
Xbox launch, whatever, like get it, new publisher. Yeah, let's get there. They need a success, and you can get gains by that. But if you're tailoring the software to a specific piece of hardware, right? And that software is then not going to shine on other systems. So now you go, okay, how many Steam customers are there?
I don't know, 1 million. They're all dorks too.
Yeah,
mouse
you're
and
like
keyboard garbage.
over 100 million.
Yeah,
right.
They're
How
not
many?
dorks either.
How many?
There's a lot of people
PlayStation
to piss off,
ratings.
Greg. Stop calling them dorks.
How many?
What, it's 54 now. 56.
PS4
56
we're at
million?
about 70. Is that?
No,
I'm hearing
it's
numbers.
54, 56, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Where's Microsoft?
They don't.
25.
Yeah, that's the whole
They're
thing of like
fuzzy on it, right? So
doing the
that's
math.
so that's combined. Let's say 200 million units of install base that you could be selling to, right? Granted, some of those titles might sell well on Steam, but Steam is a different audience too, right? They're looking for
different experiences, different
things that push their PC power.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Switch, right?
Sure.
So now you're a developer and you're choosing how are we going to spend all our time and energy over the next year and a half building a title, or 2 years or more, right? How many units can we sell?
100%. No, I totally understand.
So what I'm saying is those are decisions that, regardless of what the consumer is doing, that's going to shape what the development community is doing, and that's going to shape what publishers are deciding. Yeah. Right.
Well, for me, that's what's been fascinating about the launch.
Yeah.
Is I thought for sure it would come out sell how it's somewhere, and then have a public opinion around it that was like negative, more negative, and it's been so positive. But I do wonder if at EA, if at Ubi, they are like, fuck, should we get a team of 10 people to make some little thing that ties into whatever to put it over there?
How often do we see those publishers targeting one platform?
Yeah, super rare.
Right, so instead they'd be looking at it like, is it worth the cost of a conversion?
But again, my question, I guess, or even point or whatever, would be the fact of I don't think that if they're like, oh, get 10 people to make a Valiant Hearts, but that can go everywhere, because that's the whole thing. If you're making something for the least common denominator, then it can be applied everywhere else.
It can, but now you're on these other systems where I mean, we're small. We put a few $1 million into a title, right? We try to make it look like 10 or more was put into it. Sure. Other people are putting in tens of millions. Those things look pretty great, right? Now you're watching it on hardware. So your device might play those games, but is that the reason why you bought that type of a high-powered device?
And this is what you're talking about with the different communities and how they look in all different stuff. Because like for me, I'm Mr. PlayStation, and they're like, here's PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'm like, I don't need it.
Yeah,
I don't have a 4K TV, and I don't care.
If you were a company that had financing, like let's say a VC funded your game, right?
Yeah, it's Kevin Coelho Industries.
There you go. Okay, so what's his last name?
Coelho.
C-O-E-L-O. More Peruvian.
Yeah, well, that works.
Also, I like he's leaning back playing his Switch.
Yeah, he looks like a kingpin over there.
He was eating
my
peanut
God.
butter cups all morning during the morning show. So now he's like, he's taking all that sugar energy.
We got it. Kevin, pull up a photo of you in your suit to show Mr. Lanning, because he looks like Pablo Escobar in a suit. He looks intimidating, like he runs an empire.
We got to get him some gold-plated 45s.
Yeah. You love that.
Did you ever see that gun collection? Wow.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Wow, man, priceless.
Yeah.
So I think that's what ultimately is going to be a big part of shaping its success. And if you're if you were a developer with an investor, the investor's going to be like, so you're targeting the smallest system with the smallest install base that's capping our possible success at, and you're not really targeting being competitive on the other 150 million.
It's that I hear you and I understand, but I think it's just that you are in such a unique position in the kind of games you make, where I do think that it speaks more to we got it. Look at this guy. Look at this
wow,
kingpin
man,
over here, right?
You do look like Pablo Escobar.
Oh, for a second I thought you were carrying a bag with someone's head in it.
Jesus.
Like, it doesn't kind of look like he's pointing to like, I cut your head off.
No, he doesn't. That doesn't look like that at all.
Why did I see that?
I went to Colombia a couple years ago. Like, the most amazing thing. Have you ever been to Colombia?
No.
Okay.
Closest I've been to that
is the shocking surprise, right? Most gorgeous women you will see walking per square mile anywhere on the planet.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I've seen Narcos.
Wow. I never saw Narcos.
Narcos, yeah.
I never saw Narcos, but I saw Colombia.
I don't.
Oh my God. That's where the Victoria's Secret models come from. Like,
interesting.
As a herd. Like, unbelievable. I just never, it's a hard.
I say Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's pretty fabulous.
So the thing I'm going back to is the fact that I think it's speaking more to the fact of who a Drinkbox would be. A company that's making these smaller severed-like games. And I think they can sit there and be like, we're not just targeting Switch, we're putting it everywhere. I understand for you, because you guys are releasing fucking renders of Abe and like you can see all the pores on his skin. Yeah. Like you're making a game that is not at all like what the Switch's bread and butter Switch is going to be.
Right.
I think that's the difference.
Well, I think it's so I think it's all those numbers, all those trends are going to shape where people are laying their money for business.
Yeah,
and that's going to shape a lot of what the audience has to pick from.
Sure,
and then. It's kind of the other market is mobile, right?
Yeah,
if you're making small games. There's billions of mobile devices out there now.
Sure,
I mean it's tough.
Same idea though, right? That the market is just saturated with games. Like how do you get exposure?
Yeah,
Charles,
but when we bring Stranger's Wrath 10 years later over to Apple, they're like, my God, the iPhone looks great. We'll promote you.
Nice.
Day and date, a decade later. But it makes the device look good. They're happy about it.
All right.
But you mentioned Mass Effect.
Yeah. All right. Don't not get into this.
I never ever trash developers, right?
Yeah.
But it should be an exception.
Damn, Lorne Lanning. Shade.
Like I was looking, I was like, how do you get worse graphics than your last iteration? Like, how do you do it? Something's inherently broken there.
Right.
I mean, I miss Ray and Greg. That's really what's going on. What happened?
They're out making beer.
I think they sold to somebody. Who was it?
EA, wasn't it? Electronic Arts did it, huh?
Something happened. But I was watching these videos, man. I mean, I didn't play, but it's like, why does everyone look like they got a load in their pants? What's going on here, man? What happened?
You were opening up. They're going to come for you. They're going to come for Oddworld next. Thanks for watching. You can no, that's the wrong hand. Thanks for watching. You can click here to subscribe. You can click here to go to Patreon. You can click here to watch something Kevin wants you to watch, and then do something. What's this one? I don't remember.
Behind the chair. You're behind the chair.
It's a face.
People can't see where you're clicking.
Click on my face. To subscribe. I already said subscribe.
Oh, I don't know.
Click on the
Just
water
there's
bottle.
things here. Click on
If
them.
you want to go to the Easter egg website. Spoilers. It's just going to be a subscribe.
I can't even hear